All right. What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? We are live today. And today's class, we are going to be going over, is your circadian rhythm out of sync? If you're joining me, please put your name in the comment section. Send me some love so I can know you're on. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about this circadian rhythm. What the heck is a circadian rhythm? We know today there is this mechanism in our bodies called an SCN, it's a complicated word, but it stands for the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Okay, and it's a region in the brain that directs a lot of this internal rhythm that happens in the body. Okay, and I am going to share. Let me do a quick little share screen over here, and let's share. All right. Sorry, guys. Had some technical difficulty there. Not sure exactly what happened. But anyways, all right. So back to this SEN. So let me show you if I can share my screen, because if it doesn't work, then I'll do it another day. There we go. All right. Now you can see. So these are the different things that happen. If you can look, you look at this circle, right? And in this circle, you're going to be seeing nighttime and you're going to be seeing daytime, right? So to your left, you got night. To your right, you got daytime. Now this is from Sachin Panda's book. If you've never heard of Sachin, he is the world's foremost expert on circadian biology, and he studies circadian biology from every single organism. What's really fascinating about this is that every single organism known to man has a circadian rhythm. This is not just applied to humans. This is from bacteria all the way to the most complex life forms like humans that we know today. Okay, so you're looking at nighttime and you're seeing all these things that are supposed to happen at night, right? Supposed to happen in quotation marks is the important key term here. And then you have all these things on the right that are, again, supposed to happen, right, in the daytime. Now, when I say supposed to happen, I mean that because if your circadian rhythm is off, these things will not happen, or will not happen at the right times. And this is very, 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 very important to know. So let's talk about this this circadian rhythm a little bit more, right? So this SEN basically instructs genes in your cells to do specific things. And so as you can see on this guide, these things are specific things that your SEN is actually instructing the genes in your cells to do. Okay, so let's talk about why it's important and how does this function and things like that. So there are these little cells inside your eye called melanopsin. And melanopsin is really cool because what triggers melanopsin, or what sends the signal for melanopsin to actually instruct the SEN, is light. Okay, so light is a very, very important regulator of your circadian rhythm. And it's what's instructing the rhythm to throw it on or off. All right. So what's also fascinating is that we thought just through melanopsin and through the SEN that you were getting everything that basically with those two mechanisms, everything was being instructed. But what we've learned today is actually it's not just that. Every organ in your body has its own circadian rhythm, right? As an example, your liver, right, which is your pancreas, which is responsible for glucose regulation. And your liver too. These things happen based on the circadian rhythm. Okay, so now let's look at other things. So if food, as an example, right? If you eat at not a good time, let's say you eat at 9 p.m. at night when you're supposed to be in bed by 10, as an example, right? Based on your rhythm, you're going to throw a lot of these patterns that you're seeing off here, right? As an example, like the melatonin increasing during nighttime, it's actually not going to happen now, because now your liver is going to be actually, your pancreas is going to be producing insulin, right, in order to now regulate these things versus the energy that's required, for your hormones to produce melatonin, right? So things get thrown off. There's cellular repairs and a lot of cleansing processes that are super, super important at night for you to function. And these things are being thrown off at night from you eating, right? Exercise and muscle growth are regulated by your circadian rhythm. Just brain health and neurotransmitters are produced. Gut health, stress response, immune system. Guys, there's so many important things that are happening from a circadian rhythm standpoint. And if this stuff is out of rhythm, you're not going to experience optimal health. So I want to talk about a couple of things. So why is our circadian rhythm out of sync today? Well, for one, what was one of the things that I mentioned that melanopsin gets is sunlight, right? Is light in general. So to put things in perspective, if you think about from an evolutionary standpoint, right, when we were living outdoors, we were basically getting about 100 to 200,000 luxes a day or exposure to light, right? For maybe 8 hours a day. Whereas today, we're living indoors mostly, right? And in an indoor environment, you're getting about 1,000 to 2,000 luxes of light exposure a day. You're talking about 100 to 200 times less light exposure than what we're used to being exposed to. Another really important caveat too is that when you're exposed to outdoor lighting, you are getting full spectrum lighting, right? You are getting from ultraviolet down to red light, and yellow and red lights have been shown to help with mitochondrial function, and they're really, really important for just your overall cells. And we're missing this light. I see a heart in the comment. Thank you very much. Let me know who's watching so I can send you guys some love back. The other thing that's happening with light, okay, is now we're getting blue light at night, right? So we talked about getting 100 to 200 times less light in the daytime, and we're missing yellow and red light spectrum at night versus in the daytime, versus now at night, traditionally we were getting about 1 to 10 luxes, right? So you were just getting your sources of light back then, and when we were out in the outdoors, was basically fire and was basically moonlight. So you were getting about 1 to 10 luxes of light, and you were still only exposed to yellow and red light, right? For the most part. Whereas today we're getting those same 1,000 to 2,000 luxes that we're getting in the daytime, we're getting at night. Okay, so we're getting 100 to 200 times more light than what we've been used to getting, right, at night. Plus, we're not getting the red and yellow light that we're supposed to be getting at night when the sun goes down, and we're getting all the other spectrums of light. So your melanopsin is picking these things up. So it's sending signals to the body that it's daytime when it's supposed to be nighttime. And things that are supposed to be happening in your body based on this chart that you're seeing are now not happening. They are being thrown off. So there is no way in hell you are going to be thriving and healthy if these rhythms in your body are not functioning. You can have the best diet in the world, and I'm going to show you a test of how this works. A pretty astonishing test that they've done with mice to show you how detrimental this stuff is. But let's talk about just a couple other things that are really important here. Another thing what's throwing our circadian rhythm out of sync as well is just lack of movement. Okay, hunter-gatherers have been taking anywhere from 5 to 10,000 steps a day, whereas normal humans today, you're probably on the high zone if you're taking 2,000 to 3,000 steps a day, as an example, right? And you're sitting down all day. Again, that is confusing your circadian rhythm. It's throwing things off at night. And again, when you're exposed to light at night, you're producing more cortisol, which is stress hormone that's supposed to be going down at night so you can sleep. And you're getting less melatonin, which is supposed to help you go to sleep right at night. You also see, I don't know if you guys seen a lot of people, I always laugh at this, but like even where I live, I have a gym right here and right by my house and in my apartment. And when I go outside at night, it's maybe 9 o'clock at night, 9:30 at night, I see people doing really high intensity exercise. Like this is super counterproductive to your circadian biology. Like your cortisol levels are supposed to be going down, melatonin is supposed to be going up, and you're instructing your body to do the complete opposite. So we're living a life that is completely outside of just natural rhythms, and we need to align with these rhythms if we want to experience good health. Right. And then another things that are throwing off our circadian rhythm is just overall stress. Right. Like I just mentioned, exercising at the wrong time is stressful on the body. Lack of time in nature is also causing us to be chronic stress. And then just basically electromagnetic frequencies, which is probably something I'm going to talk about in the near future, and being on our devices at all times. It's constantly just, triggering dopamine responses, and it's causing us to be stressed. And we're not aware of these things if you don't tune in with your body and remove these things from your body, so you can understand how they're affecting you in a biological level. So fun facts. I'm going to talk about later today as well, is how to optimize your circadian rhythm, right? We understand that we're not living in a hunter-gatherer world. So what can we do today to actually optimize this, biohack this, and get this in sync, right? This is what I'm passionate about. But let's talk about some fun facts here so you can really understand how this is working. So there was a study done not too long ago where they got mice, right? And these specific mice were given the same exact amount of calories, two groups, right? Same exact amount of calories, same exact diet. The only difference was that one mouse was given this diet in a specific time restricted eating window, right? Think about like intermittent fasting. So they were only allowed to eat within a specific window, and that window was a window obviously that was more catered towards their biology of when a mouse should be eating. Okay. And then the other mice were basically allowed to eat whenever they wanted. They were just given the food, again, same calories though, same exact number of calories and same diet. And the results were completely startling. The mouse that were able to actually eat in the time restricted way, these mice had no issues as far as disease wise. They were basically protected from all issues, versus the mice that were basically eating throughout the entire day were showing signs of obesity, heart disease, diabetes, basically every single metabolic dysfunction you can think of. Just from eating not at the right times. Essentially, their circadian rhythm was being thrown out of sync by their eating habits, and that was causing them to get to basically become very, very unhealthy, right? And that's just one side of the equation, right? They were eating the same exact food and the same number of calories. So this is why this concept is really, really, really important. If you're trying to lose weight, it's not enough to just eat the right foods, but timing of these foods is very, very, very important. And if you're eating at the wrong times, or you're eating right before bedtime when your body's supposed to be doing certain things, you're going to basically sell yourself short and shortchange yourself. So let's talk about my favorite part of this, which is basically, biohacking this to figure how do we optimize our rhythm. All right. So first thing, number one, most important thing is, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Okay. So number one, most important thing when it comes to optimizing your circadian rhythm is get sunlight. Get a lot of it. Like, you cannot get enough sunlight. Scientists say you should get a minimum of 30 minutes. I mean, I think 30 minutes is not enough. I mean, if you're getting that, great, but shoot for more. Be outside. Every time, I don't know if you guys see pictures of me on social media, a lot of people joke because I'm always shirtless, but I like to get sun. I like to be outdoors. I like to be in nature. I feel much, much better when I do this. So get sunlight. Interesting statistic is that most humans today, when they are getting sunlight, these are the two places they're actually exposed to sunlight from, is their car ride to work and from work, right? Or lunch breaks. And guess what happens in these two instances? So in the car, what do most people have in their cars? They have tinted windows, right? So you have tinted windows on, which is your only time to be getting this beneficial effects of sunlight, so you can have a better circadian rhythm, and you're messing it up by having tinted windows on, right? And then people who go out to eat lunch, what do they typically have on? Well, most people are wearing sunglasses, right? And that's affecting their circadian rhythm, right? Because now you're blocking you're prohibiting that melanopsin, that cell we were talking about that's in your retina from getting the light that it needs, right? So those two things are really important. Now, if you are in an area that where just in nature, there's not a lot of sunlight, right? Like say you live in certain parts of the world, like Alaska, or God forbid, Antarctica or other places where just there's not a lot of sunlight, or in the winter where, you get the winter blues. It's a real thing, right? Because you're not getting sunlight. I think red light therapy here can be very, very, very useful for this. So get yourself some red light therapy. I'm going to put a link here to one that I have at home. This is called the Scarlet Lux from True Dark. And let me just copy and paste this here. Give me 1 second. All right, here it is. So that's the link right there to get the Scarlet's what is it called again? The Scarlet Red, I'm sorry, from Scarlet Lux from True Lux. They also have some red light therapy there. There's also some other good companies, not married to any one of these companies in any way. But again, if you're not getting, if you live in an environment where it's really hard to get sunlight because, because there's just not a lot of sun, then I would definitely recommend some red light therapy. I still do red light therapy regardless, even though I'm in South Florida and there's plenty of light. But sometimes it's a cloudy day and we don't get sun, so I'll be using red light. I use it at night when I want to go, when I'm preparing for sleep. I'll throw some red light in. It's pretty cool. And you can definitely notice a difference in how you feel by getting exposure to red light. So next thing, again, we talked about one of the reasons why people's circadian rhythm is off track is because they're not moving. So you need to move. You need to get up and move. I recommend getting a standing desk so that way you're not seated down all day. If you work in a company, talk to your boss, talk to whomever makes these in charge of these decisions, and stand up more. Trust me, you'd be more productive. You'd feel a lot more better. And move. And as far as movement goes, just go for walks. It doesn't have to be crazy. Take phone calls and go walking. Go bike riding. Go to the grocery store walking or on a bike or whatever. Just get movement in. The more you move, the more that your circadian rhythm is going to be in alignment. As far as exercise goes, same thing. Like if you're going to exercise and do some heavyweight intensity, some high intensity workouts, you want to do them in an optimal time, right? The most optimal time for weight training from a biological standpoint is around 3 o'clock, because that's when your muscles are they're getting signals from your body to grow. And that's when muscle growth is actually happening. So if you can work out at that time, you'll notice that you're going to be way stronger than you would say at 6 a.m., right? When your body's not primed to go lift all these heavy things. So, that's a great time to exercise. Again, it's not bad to do heavy weight training at 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock. I don't do any weight training or high intensity exercise in the morning because I just don't feel like it. And I tend to get primed for that stuff, around 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So again, move. Now, one of my favorite ways to optimize your circadian rhythm. So we talked about sunlight. We talked about movement. One of the other things is intermittent fasting, right? Or time restricted eating, which is eat within a specific window of time. We talked about the study of the mice that were eating throughout the whole times of the day, and they were way more at risk for all types of diseases, from heart disease, diabetes, cancer, everything, right? So eat within windows of the day, right? And decide what your windows are. I typically just eat one meal a day. For the most part, I do drink coffee and tea like you're seeing here throughout the day. Keeps me feeling great. And I tend to have a meal somewhere between, ideally 6 o'clock, 6:30. Sometimes we go a little bit later than that, which is not optimal. And I know that. But again, I'm like you guys. I am human. I'm not perfect. And we try and do my best. But I do fast periodically, at least once a week on Friday, where I don't eat at all that day other than just coffee or tea. So I get the benefits. Fasting is a great way to reset your circadian rhythm as well. I track my sleep with an Oura ring, right? And every time I fast on a Friday, I can't tell you how much better sleep I get and how much more improved readiness score. There's a score that this ring gives you to let you know how ready you are technically for the next day. And it's looking at just basically different stress variables like heart rate variability, resting heart rate, body temperature, and things like that. So fasting is a great way to do it. And then as far as time restricted eating, figure out what's an eating window that works for you, right? Whether it's the 16-8 window where you eat from just 12 to 8 p.m. I would, maybe try and shorten it. Honestly, I think optimally, it's probably better to have your breakfast and lunch and skip dinner. I think that's more biologically optimal. Just sometimes it's not practical. But if you can get that to work for you, that's a great habit to have. It's hard for me to do it because when I wake up, I'm already fasted and I'm not hungry. So I tend to just, have coffee and I have tea and then I'll have a big meal later in the day. But again, find out what works for you. Time restricted eating is great. Don't not be eating 5 times a day, eating every 2 to 3 hours. That is not a good idea, right? That is a sentence to aging. So some other things you can be doing as well for time restricted eating and fasting is take some melatonin you want to do it about 2 hours after eating. Okay. But then about 2 hours before sleep. So if your sleep window is around 10 o'clock at night, it means you want to eat around 6 ideally, and you want to take your melatonin around 8 because that's when your body's natural melatonin production is increasing. As far as dosing for melatonin, I would start with 3 micrograms, not milligrams, but 3 micrograms of melatonin. And you can work your way up from that to see if you're waking up groggy or not. I know that if you are waking up groggy, if you just get some sunlight right in the morning, that tends to take it away. But as far as dosing, see what works for you. I do right now I'm taking about 5 milligrams a day. If I'm sick, I'll take way more because melatonin acts as an antioxidant. So that's something good to know. And as far as taking immune supplements and gut repair supplements, it's a great time to take it at night because that's what your body is naturally programmed to do at night, right? So we talked about sunlight, we talked about movement, we talked about time restricted eating and fasting. One of the biggest things, and I've noticed this for me as far as sleep goes and just optimizing your circadian rhythm, is avoiding the blue light after sunset. I think this is probably the biggest biohack that you can have besides not eating close to bedtime. Like eating close to bedtime is gonna make you live way less. It's gonna subject you to all types of diseases and increase your risk for that. But also getting light exposure after sunset is gonna throw off your rhythm and it's gonna affect your sleep, which then leads to all these other bad negative consequences. So get some blue light blocking glasses. In that same link that I posted here in the comments section from TrueDark, they sell nighttime blockers, and I would definitely invest in a pair. Just put them on after sunset, make it a daily habit. Who cares if people make fun of you or laugh at you? A lot of people think they're actually cool. Whenever I go out, I get a lot of compliments because they think I look like a rock star, like Bono or something, because I'm wearing these like orange or amber looking glasses. And what they don't understand is I'm doing it for health reasons. I'm not doing it for any fashion reasons. But anyways, get some blue light blocking glasses. The blue light blocking glasses are going to basically expose you only to yellow and red light, even though you might have white light exposure outdoors. And I have found for me that's been one of the biggest game changers for sleep. As well as optimizing sleep. If you really want to go, if you really want to go big, you can optimize your lighting inside. I'm going to put a link here to some good lighting you can get. This is from a company called BIOS, and BIOS has some awesome Carcadian lighting that they designed actually for NASA scientists for this same reason, because they knew that if they were going to be going in space, their Carcadian rhythms were going to get thrown off completely from just the difference in light exposure. So they wanted to basically create lighting that would help minimize those effects. Okay. So BIOS is that. If you look at my lights in the background, I have some of these BIOS lights. They're way more friendly on the eyes. And what's really cool is that I have dimmer switches. So if I dim them, they will, if I put them all the way bright, they're going to be really, really white, kind of like sunlight would. And then if you dim them, they get amber, kind of like a sunset, right? That's kind of the idea behind them. Another important thing for sleep is get some blackout curtains. Blackout curtains are huge. If you're living in a neighborhood that's got a lot of light, which most of us do, unless you're living in a country where there is no light, then maybe you don't need them. But if you're living, in regular neighborhoods, urban neighborhoods where there's light exposure at night, you definitely want to get some blackout curtains. And you definitely want to make your AC cold, right? Put your AC cold. We sleep at 60 degrees over here. But anywhere from 60 to 68 is what sleep studies have shown to be the optimal temperature for sleeping. So if you're sleeping higher than that, it's likely that you're not going to get as good sleep. And I'm going to do a call on another day on the importance of sleep, because I don't think many people realize how important sleep is for optimal performance. And then lastly, optimizing sleep, which is some of the things we've just been talking about right now, which is, putting the blackout curtains. You can do as far as timing, make sure you're going to sleep at the right time. And going to sleep more or less, you should be going to sleep and waking up more or less at the same time every day. That's a great sign that your circadian rhythm is working and in sync. If you're going to sleep and waking up at different times on the weekday than you are in the weekend, then that's a sign that something's off, right? You should be going to sleep and waking up at the same exact time. We talked about blackout curtains. Another big thing that can disrupt sleep is drinking a lot of fluids prior to bedtime. And sometimes that's been a myth where a lot of people are like, oh, drink a lot of water so you don't wake up dehydrated. You really don't want to do that, because you're going to wake up and disturb your sleep to go pee. And you don't want to wake up. You don't want to do that. So I would not drink a lot of water prior to sleep. I would recommend getting a ring like this, like the Aura ring, to track your sleep, because the more you track it, the more you're going to be aware of how good you're sleeping or how good you're not sleeping, so you can actually make improvements to your habits and to your health and to your lifestyle to actually, get better sleep. Again, red lights are important. One of the things that we do in our bathroom is we have like motion sensor red lights. So that way, if we do wake up and we have to go to the restroom, we're not turning on these white, bright lights that are going to completely disrupt your circadian rhythm, probably make it hard for you to go back to sleep, right? We have these motion sensor bright lights that turn on. They're super, super easy on the eyes. They're not stressful at all. And those are lights that would be optimal to not throw off your rhythm when you wake up. So get some red lights in the bathroom, black out the room so that way it's pitch black at night so you can go to sleep. And then a cool hack is get a sun alarm for waking up, right? So look online, figure out when does the sun rise, at what time does the sun rise, and then they sell these alarm clocks. Philips sells one. There's different ones on Amazon you can get as well. They're not expensive as the Philips one. They're around like $40-$50. And they basically turn on with like red light, like a sunrise would, and they basically turn on with they basically try and look like a sunrise, right? And you don't have to put any sounds, so that way you're just waking up with light, and it's a much, much better way of waking up. I recommend not using alarm clocks if possible. I know that can be hard for employees that got jobs and have to be there on time. But if you can get yourself to a point where you don't have to have an alarm clock and you can just use light to wake you up, that would be really, really optimal. So that's about it. So these are the things we can do to hack our biology, to optimize our circadian rhythm. So again, get sunlight, move, time-restricted eating, fasting, avoid blue light after sunset, and then optimize sleep, right? If we can do these 5 things, we're going to feel much better. We're going to be way less stressed. We're going to have more energy. We're going to have more creative powers to think through and solve complex problems throughout the day. Our immune systems are going to work better. We're going to have better memory. Our brains are going to be able to solve problems faster, right? This is what you want, right? If you want to live a high performance lifestyle, you want to optimize your circadian rhythm. So I hope you guys found this live useful. And again, I put the links in here for the True Dark if you want to get the blue light blocking glasses, or if you want to experience some red light therapy, that's in there. And I also put the link down there for the BIOS lighting if you want to upgrade your lighting either in your office environment for your employees and your team, or at home in your regular home vicinity. So sending you guys lots of love. Hope you enjoyed the live, and I will catch you on the next one. So take care. If you guys do have any quick questions, I'm open to answering them. here in the chat. So let me know. And if not, I will bounce. All right, cool. I don't think I'm getting any. So, all right, guys, take care. Have a great day.